those small steps can really turn into large paths of success for people. And if they can hear that from somebody else, it's just truly inspiring for people to take part in.
This is More to the Story, a podcast of Thomas More University. We highlight the people of Thomas More, their experiences, aspirations, and how passion meets purpose and drives possibility forward. Join us as we foster conversation and connection, because we know there's always more to the story.
This year, we've had conversations with the people behind it all, the ones building, supporting, and strengthening the Thomas More community in ways you don't always see. So now we're taking a step back to look at the bigger picture. Welcome to More to the Story. I'm your host, Michael Weller. Here at Thomas More University, our mission calls us to examine the ultimate meaning of life, our place in the world, and our responsibility to others. Throughout this past year, this podcast has been one way of living out that mission by creating space for meaningful conversations that go beyond the surface. Together, we've explored 3 themes that help shape our community: momentum, sustainability, and mental health. We've heard from individuals who are moving this campus forward through action and purpose, who are committed to stewardship and caring for the world around us, and who are working to ensure that every person feels supported, seen, and valued. Each story has offered a different perspective, but all point back to a shared commitment to community, dignity, and service. Joining me today is the producer and editor of this podcast, Kendra Yurt, who has helped bring each of these stories to life. Kendra is a graduate assistant in marketing and communications and Department of Creative Media. She graduated in 2024 with her bachelor's in criminal justice and environmental science, and currently is pursuing her master's in public health. She'll be graduating this May in 2026. In developing this podcast, her goal was to elevate the voices of those making a difference and to showcase the diverse experiences that make the university community so dynamic. In today's episode, we're taking a bit of a step back, as I mentioned earlier, to reflect on those conversations, what we've learned, what stood out, and what it really means to go beyond the surface and discover what's more to the story. Welcome, Kendra.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's kind of nice to be on this side, a little bit different maybe.
It's a little weird, honestly. I'm not used to being on the microphone at all, so this is definitely different for me, but I'm super excited.
Yeah, awesome. This is definitely a big thing for me, as we've discussed many times, to kind of like look back at all the episodes we've done. To this point, we've filmed or recorded, I guess, 12 episodes.
Yes, we have. It's been a really busy year. It's honestly flown by so fast. I didn't really expect it to go as fast as it did, but we've been living on a schedule, so it's been making it go by a lot faster.
That's so true. This is like the one thing in my life that's been consistent and on schedule, on pace. It's been quite nice.
Yeah, the Wednesdays at 2:00 every single week. So it's been really exciting to see where this has been going. And I really appreciate all your work that you've been putting in and being my host throughout the year. So that's been really exciting. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have done it without the preparation and editing skills of you, of course. Let's get into it. I mean, so after producing all these 3 series, obviously starting with momentum and then sustainability and capping it off with mental health, what common threads stood out to you across all of these conversations?
That's a tough question because all 3 series were just it was just so inspiring to hear everyone's story. And I think what stood out to me the most was just the passion and dedication that each person had shared with us. They all had a different story and perspective, but each episode was just so rooted in that love for service and then people's commitment to each other and to the Thomas More campus. So I just found it really inspiring. And it definitely, with some of the actions of the students and faculty and alumni that they shared, they were truly engaging and making a difference in the community. And then, not to go off topic, but one thing that always stood out to me was the excitement and joy I received from people when they were like, asking to be on the podcast. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's do this.
For sure.
That was really exciting because they got to partake in something new. It's just the beginning, so it definitely was rusty at times, like microphones wouldn't work or the computer would just shut down. But everyone was always just so helpful and willing to take a leap and come on and join the conversation. So it just made this really uplifting, and it was just really inspirational for me to see this. So yeah.
Yeah, those times when the microphones and computer weren't working, that was fun.
I was stressing and sweating. I was like, please don't leave.
Yeah, but they, I think it's a good indication of our Thomas More community. There's a lot of patience there, knowing, we'll get through this.
Yes. It was just really new. I also had no podcast experience ever. So, I taught everything myself on how to use the program. So I was like super nervous, but excited. And I think it actually turned out okay. I mean, for the first round. So
for sure. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've certainly learned a lot more about people in our community. There's some people that we had on the podcast that I had never had a conversation with.
For sure.
Some of them, I will admit that I didn't know they existed or what they did. But on any campus, you can kind of fall through some of that. But yeah, so obviously you went here for undergrad, and now you're a grad student. So you're pretty involved in Thomas More community in general. But tell me something that this podcast has taught you that you really didn't know about the community you were involved in before.
I know. I've been here forever. It's been like 6 years, but it went by so fast. I'm kind of sad. I love Thomas More. And I think one of the things that I really learned from this project, it's really just that commitment that people have to what they're doing. It's like all the way down to just like teaching a class. Everyone is so committed, just makes the campus so vibrant and so exciting. And we really got to see that firsthand, like throughout this podcast, which was like amazing. And then we also got to see just like that hands-on work that people's been putting out there. I mean, all the way down to like service and then mental health projects to make the campus better. I mean, we just didn't really know about that behind the scenes. So it's been really nice to get in there and seeing how people are making it a better place. And I know this is just like so cliche, but I feel like you really get to see people making a difference. It's just so exciting to see how this just like flows through all the generations of Thomas More, from like students, faculty, alumni. Like everybody is so committed to what they're doing. And then it's just so service oriented here, and that mindset, it just like exists everywhere, and like campus life and just regular life and just like what people are doing. So I felt like I really did experience that as a student, but I really didn't get to see it from an outward perspective until like I was out of that like main undergrad student life.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Just like seeing how it's been growing and like what people are doing, it was just like super exciting. So I think that's what I've learned the most.
That's cool. For me, honestly, it was kind of interesting because the first 2 episodes we did were 2 of my best friends. And then during sustainability, it was like, we're doing the dean of my department. It's kind of like 2 opposites of the spectrum. Yeah. And like you said, both are very service minded. Obviously, Ethan, who pretty much came up with the idea of another service day.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which, as we're filming, is next week.
Yes.
I keep saying filming. We're not filming. We're recording.
I call it a show, so
there we go.
I think it is. No, it was like truly, it was truly cool to see different like projects that people were doing and different perspectives that everybody had for like service. Like you had Ethan, who is actually doing service all the time, and then you have like Luca Bella, she's doing service, but then she's also like creating projects to continue service. And then you just have like the professors that come on and the dean of students. They're just actively giving back to the community through teaching like students and like spreading these different mission of the university in different ways. So I feel like everybody just had a different mindset, and it just offers a different perspective for people to relate to. So
absolutely. Well, perfect. Talking about what things people relate to, tell me something that wouldn't be so obvious to the viewer that doesn't have a inside man on the job, if you will? What's something that people would be surprised to know?
I think probably that I was extremely nervous for this podcast to be released. I think it was definitely a leap of faith for me. This was definitely new, and it took a lot of planning and mapping out, like behind the scenes, like probably months prior to the podcast. We've been talking about this for a while, so I was just like really nervous to get it up and running, but I've been really excited at the same time, just because whenever you do something new, you're always nervous. But and then, just like the planning and preparation, I actually had like 3 names before I landed on More to the Story. It was just like a whole thing. I also have 3 different brand designs, and then I've narrowed it down to the blue and orange. There's just a lot that goes into it that I don't think a lot of people realize sometimes. And then you just got to think about what's the energy. Like, if I chose an orange, I was like, is that energetic or is that like anxiety? I don't know. But like, I think the orange is anxiety or energetic, and the blue is like, inspiring, academic. So you got to think about colors sometimes too, which is another thing. And then also just like aligning it with university values, just like making sure it's always like, we want community oriented. I really wanted to focus on that. So that was another thing. And like, I was consistently thinking about, how am I going to engage somebody? How am I going to engage a 20-year-old student, our generation? If it's not like compelling to us in the first 5 seconds, we turn off or we scroll. It's just like how it is. So that's just something I always thought about. And like really working to get those interesting conversations to the table so people feel connected to Thomas More, and then like also the guest that's speaking. So I think that was just like the main thing that I had. Just like, I wanted to be energetic, but I also wanted people to like have a sense of relaxation when listening to it, just like a conversation, have some fun, and just hear people's behind the scenes story of how they got to where they were. So that was just like super important. So that's some stuff that I feel like people probably wouldn't know just listening to an episode. But yeah, super excited. So
I'll add in, the amount of editing that you've done is absurd. There's been so much editing.
Yeah, the editing takes some time for sure. That's
So-
with like anything. Yeah.
Definitely. That's definitely much appreciated. All right. So, talking about meaningful conversations, right? From your perspective, what does the podcast really mean after a full year of hearing those conversations?
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a full year. I know I said that. I'm just like baffled right now that we're already in like April. I guess when this gets released, it will be May. So it's just crazy. But I feel like we need a celebratory cake. Like, this is it. We finished a complete like season. But I think after a full year, I just like found it really important to listen and allow someone to be heard. I gained such a value for the journey. Like, it's so inspiring to see the conversation, see how somebody got to where they were, and just seeing the behind the scenes of the success or the accomplishment somebody is doing. I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to hear those stories and then put those out there for people. I just think you really get to know Thomas More deeper. I like the university, and like the people make the university who it is and how it is. So it's just so like, I just feel so grateful for that, for people to be able to like hear that part.
That's awesome. Do you have I know I'm going to go off script a little bit about the questions we've talked about, but is there like a favorite part that you've had from the podcast? To narrow it down to
It's so
1, 2,
hard.
or 3, whatever you want.
I know. Honestly, I think it is like the conversations itself, like coming in and getting to talk to people, because even when they're not filming, we still get to like hear other parts of the story, like that might not be on the microphone, but we still get to dive deeper and like, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to share? And so like, just like getting to know somebody is pretty exciting. And I mean, it was kind of fun trying to figure out what theme song I wanted to do. I mean, I got to listen to like 50 songs, and then I was like, okay, I'm narrowing it down. I think this one's good. It kind of fits. So it took me like a whole day, and I think it's okay. Like, I don't know, but yeah, that part was fun. It's just like listening to music all day. So yeah, that's another random part for sure.
No, definitely. I mean, I feel like we had plenty of guests where we were done with the podcast and we just like sat there and I was like, man, we should have had this part of the podcast too.
I know,
like, this is
same.
so interesting.
I was like, man, I should have kept filming. That was kind of good. But yeah, we would just sit there and talk for like an extra 20 minutes, and you really get to know somebody. You get to know their story, like what they've been doing. So it's just like, it's super exciting to engage with people in a different way around campus. So
it's certainly something different. There's not been a consistent podcast here on campus.
No, there hasn't.
Related.
Yeah, this is like the first one.
Yeah.
So
it's history, one might say.
It will go down in history for sure. I mean, I think it's like crazy that it finally got up and running, because we've been talking about this, and this idea of the podcast has been existing. And it's definitely like evolved from other things, but the podcast itself, like consistent episodes, consistent seasons, with a consistent brand connected to the university is just, it's super cool, because a lot of universities have these, and it's so exciting just to hear from alumni and students and faculty and see your professor in a different way. And so
definitely, yeah, since we've started like filming and whatnot, I see so many other universities podcasts on my feed, and I'm like, hey, me too.
We have one too. Yeah, we're growing. You can follow us if you want on Spotify.
All right, so kind of heading towards the end of our conversation here, but I want to know, like, if somebody just listens to one episode, what do you hope they get out of that?
I really hope that anyone that listens in just has a sense of belonging and connection, no matter where you are. I want someone to feel like they have purpose, and they have the ability to achieve any dream or aspiration they want just by listening to other people's stories and how they got to where they were. And I think a huge thing I really tried to focus on including in each episode was having that person offer advice on how someone can get involved if they're even a little bit interested in pursuing something different. And so I think those small steps can really turn into large paths of success for people. And if they can hear that from somebody else, it's just truly inspiring for people to take part in. And so I just think I want people to see how important the community here at Thomas More is, through the aspect of this like storytelling conversation vibe that we have going, but just like having people here making a difference behind closed doors and highlighting that across campus and the community. I really wanted to bring a light to the true mission of the university. And I really just want people to feel like a sense of belonging and really understanding Thomas More for what it is and what it can offer and how it can really shape you. As you can see, I'm back. I've been here for 6 years, and I'm honestly really sad to leave. Or graduate, I guess. But yeah, it truly changes you as a person.
You can say it's cliche or whatever. It really is people that make the place. I mean, it's such a small community, but as we've kind of highlighted in the podcast, it's very diverse. It's truly like they are all connected very much with the mission of the university, which is really cool for me as a student here, and I'm sure for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're small but mighty.
Definitely.
We make a big impact in the world.
Very true. All right, so I don't know. This has been fun.
It's been awesome seeing like how it's transformed. I feel like every episode gets better, so it's been truly amazing. I can't wait to see what next season brings. Stay tuned for season 2, everybody. It will be coming. Like, I know summer's here, but it will be coming after summer. So, enjoy the break and happy graduation. Everybody graduating. Woohoo, 2026. But yes, thanks for the support. We've allowed this project become a success. That's fun. But yeah, I guess I have one question. What was your favorite part about this podcast? And are you sad that it's ending?
I'll start with the second part. It's ending, but I hope to be back next year. I hope, because I'm gonna be a senior, so I hope that I'll be able to, they'll have me back. I am sad that it's ending because it's kind of, there's a lot of things at the end of the school year that you're like, I'm glad that that's over with, right? Exams, papers, all that good stuff. But this has been really fun. I mean, as I kind of mentioned earlier, it's like the whole idea of meeting new people and hearing their stories and letting that be shared. But I would say my favorite part, just because I think it was really funny, was during Dr. Frohmeyer's, Jonathan Frohmeyer, his podcast, and I said something about 100 miles between here and Louisville, riverwise, and he slam dunked on me and said, it's a lot more than that. And
river miles are different than miles, everyone. We did not know that at the time.
I didn't think
but now
about
we
the
do.
curves,
Yes.
the winds of the
yeah,
of the
that was
river.
funny.
I would say that's like comically that was my favorite part. But honestly, I was talking to all these people that are truly very much involved in the impact that this university has on each student, and myself included. And it was like, I said it a lot. Like I remember saying it vividly, just like, this is awesome to hear from the people that are running this place, that you're focused on me, right? And that helps me with my sense of belonging here. As I mentioned in Dean Connors, it was like, sometimes it can be a little hard to get into the community, but once you're in, and once you feel at home, it like doesn't stop feeling like it's home. And obviously I'm only a junior here. I've only been here half the time that you have. But it's like, this is real. All this stuff that when I'm on the track and field team, sorry, I don't know. When I was being recruited, and it's like all these things being told to me, it's real. It's real. Like I've seen it before my own eyes. I've experienced it, and now it's kind of been really cool to see why it is the way that it is.
It truly is. I think Dean Connor said this in his, but he's like, if you let Thomas More into your life, it changes you. Like if you get involved on campus, if you engage with your community, you engage with your Thomas More peers, it really does change you. So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. I tried a podcast. So
yeah, I mean, on the flip side of that, what I was saying about how it's all these leaders in our community that are, full-blown adults and not students anymore. But it's also the students. Like during the mental health series, Lucabella and Mario, it's like, I've had classes with Mario, but I've never had a real conversation with him. Like that's what I'm missing out on by waiting until I get him in the podcast studio, Like there's so many untold stories at Thomas More. You just got to go find them, I guess.
You do have to find them. And I think that's what made this podcast so amazing. So I've been truly happy with how this has turned out this first year and how it's really becoming a success. So Looking forward to the next season.
For sure. All right. This is plenty of time for you to edit.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything. Just
Sweet.
Super excited for next season, and thanks for everyone for joining us this school year.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it, everybody. This has been super fun. Hopefully it's been impactful. That's it for today's episode. Please follow along as we look for what's more to the story. You can find us on Spotify and on YouTube. This episode was produced by Kendra Yurt and the marketing and communications team at Thomas More University. Artwork and editing by Kendra Yurt.